Get ready, because today I'm going to be answering your comments. Welcome back, everybody, to another edition of my weekly race review talk show thing. Today I'm basically, last week and last couple videos I've been asking you guys to leave your questions or post interesting comments, mostly questions of course, about things that you want me to talk about or answer in today's show. So this week I'm not really going to be talking about anything specific, just going to be answering a bunch of your questions I have printed out right here. So might as well jump right into it because it might take a while. I got about 8 or 9 of these, or 10 maybe, I don't know how many, a bunch of these to do. So let's get started. First from JTross64. What track besides Talladega is the biggest wild card left in the chase, and how is it the biggest game changer? Well, I definitely agree Talladega is definitely the biggest wild card, but if I look at it, I think the second biggest wild card is going to be this week actually at Dover. I don't really know why I think this. It's either Dover or Martinsville back or in the 7th race, I believe. I think those two races. Martinsville is a special track. It's a short track, so it's kind of like if there's going to be guys that get in trouble. There's only a select few drivers in the chase that specifically run well at them, and more specifically, guys like Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch. It's not their best racetrack. So if the other guys, Jimmy Johnson's definitely going to be strong there. Jeff Gordon, if he wants to get back in the championship contention, that'll be the time to shine right there. So that'll definitely be interesting to watch. I think, especially if Kenseth and Busch are still leading the points come that race, I think it could definitely shake it up a little bit. But Dover this week, I think is going to be interesting because we got a lot of drivers that say this is their favorite racetrack, but really only one of them is going to, only a handful of them are even going to do well this weekend. So I think this has the potential. We've grown accustomed, like I said, to like the 20 car, the 18, and the 48 to basically lead all the laps and dominate and win these races so far and be at the front. But I feel like Kenseth and Johnson will definitely be strong this weekend. But I feel like this is the type of track that Greg Biffle or Carl Edwards or somebody else, maybe even Casey Kane or Dale Earnhardt Jr. can come out and maybe put their name back in that championship contention with a win. Maybe even Kevin Harvick. I think he has a good chance as well. So I just think this week has the potential to really kind of, this race and Martinsville in a few weeks have the potential to just really flip the standings a little bit. I don't think anything that drastic will happen because of the large points lead, but it'll definitely bring a few names that are currently kind of out in the back and put them up in the front group again. All right, next question. This one's also from JTross64. He, along with Deer Hunter Cowboys fan, both basically asked me how Kyle Larson did. JTross64 asked, do you think that Kyle Larson will have any success in the Sprint Cup Series next year as he did nationwide this year? Deer Hunter Cowboys fan asked, with as little experience as Kyle Larson has, what do you think his performance will be in the 2014 NASCAR season? Well, I think Kyle Larson's going to be good. I think he's going to be very similar. He's going to be very similar to what Ricky Stenhouse did this year in the 17. Though the only difference is I think Stenhouse went to a slightly better car than Larson will be going to. Larson will be, of course, filling in or taking the place of Juan Pablo Montoya in the 42 team, for the 42 car next year for Earnhardt Ganassi. You look at where Ricky Stenhouse is right now. He flirted around 20th in points. Really never was in a serious contender for wins. I think at Kansas he had a good shot, and at I believe Talladega earlier in the year he was up leading during the rain delay, I believe, or he was in second during the rain delay. Sorry. So I think Larson's not going to make the chase next year, at least as far as I can tell. He could completely prove me wrong. I don't really know. He may be better than I think he is, but he's been good in the Nationwide Series this year. But he hasn't been superb. He hasn't been going out there dominating races and winning all the time. He's been getting some pretty good top 10, top 5 finishes. But I know the last couple weeks, specifically in the Nationwide Series, he's wrecked a couple times or had some problems, and he's had very bad finishes. I actually, honestly, I found it relatively surprising to see him come up this quickly because you look at guys like Ricky Stenhouse and Austin Dillon, who've basically dominated the Nationwide Series with the exception of Kyle Busch. But of the Nationwide drivers, they basically dominated the last couple of years. And it took Stenhouse 2 championships before he finally got to move up into the Cup Series. Austin Dillon, it's taken him another 2 years where he looks like he's in a good position to possibly win the championship this year if he can steal away from Hornish. So it's like, and Austin Dillon will be making a move to Cup next year, just point that out. But it's taken both of them like 2+ years to get into the Cup Series, whereas it's taken Kyle Larson less than 1 full year before he's already got a contract next year to be going into the Cup Series. So I don't know how that's going to work out, seeing as Stenhouse had as much spent as much time in the Nationwide Series as he did, and he's coming to the Cup Series and really not done a whole lot yet. I have a feeling it's not going to be much better for Larson next year. Okay, so the next question comes from Will Outlaw. What do you think about Napa leaving MWR after what happened at Richmond? If you heard in the news earlier before last week's race, Napa Auto Parts decided that they are going to be dropping sponsorship with Martin Truex Jr. and Michael Waltrip Racing in general. They're going to be just dropping them as a sponsor after the Richmond stuff, when the penalties and whatnot came out and the cheating. 5 Hour Energy, who sponsors Clint Boyer, they are also on hold currently with whether or not they're going to return next year. And I'm going to be honest, looking at that, I don't know a whole lot about business and kind of I don't know what they're thinking about exactly, what brought them to this decision. In my opinion, it's almost good for them, because, I mean, think about it, we've talked about Michael Waltrip Racing, Truex, and Boyer a lot the last few weeks, so they've been getting a lot of screen time, so that's a good thing. Yeah, it's kind of negative screen time, I guess, and the fact that we're associating them with cheating and whatnot, but I thought it was just a little drastic. I mean, I've seen other drivers get penalties, like earlier this year when Matt Kenseth had that huge penalty, or when Brad Keselowski and Joey Logano had penalties earlier this year. It's like none of the sponsors even blinked. They were just like, oh, it was a penalty. I'm not sure. This penalty, I guess, since it was just so overhyped and so talked about because it affected the outcome of so many different things that happened this season. I guess that was just big enough for Napa to leave, but I don't know. I thought it was a little drastic. Maybe I'm completely wrong because, like I said, I don't really understand. I don't really know anything about what businesses like that think, big businesses like that, how they react to things like that. So I don't really know. Next question comes from Stop Motion Racing 22. Who is your sleeper for winning the championship? I have a bet on Kevin Harvick. Well, Kevin Harvick's definitely would have been my pick. I think Kurt Busch is my next biggest pick. Kevin Harvick, you look at him, he's got 2 wins this year. Both wins, neither race did he exactly dominate, but he definitely earned the nickname the closer. He reminded everyone why he's called that this year, because both those races he kind of just came out of nowhere at the end and took advantage of other people's mistakes and won the race. So, and it's because of that I don't think he really is a serious threat to win the championship, but if anyone was, I think it has to be Harvick. I'd put Carl Edwards in that mix, but I'm not really sure if he counts as a sleeper because he is sitting there 4th in points. He's been at the top couple drivers in the standings all year. So I don't know if he really counts as a sleeper, but if he did, I might put Carl Edwards ahead of him. But Kevin Harvick's definitely a good pick. Kurt Busch, if he could just be a little more consistent, I think he would definitely have a shot, but it's just going to be tough to do anything about the Gibbs cars right now. Next question. Denny from Gaming Ninja 07. If Hamlin hadn't gotten injured back in California, do you think he would be a big threat for the championship? Honestly, I don't know. Because he's come back from that injury and raced like crap. That team generally, not even all Denny's fault, he wrecked a whole bunch too, but they've had engine problems, just problems across the board. And it really doesn't make any sense because, like I said, if you look at Matt Kenseth and Kyle Busch, they're dominating races. They're winning. The 2 of them combined have won almost half the races this year. And it's just, I don't understand. Denny Hamlin's running very similar equipment, and if he's not able to run at least top 10 every week like he usually does, I have a feeling that it is his back that's causing the problem. And if he hadn't had the back problem, he might be a championship. I'll bet he'd be in the chase because I think his back is still bothering him, and that's why he's gotten in more wrecks recently than he's used to. I think it's just he's getting wore out during the race. He gets sore, he does something, and he just messes up and he wrecks. Because I don't know the stat, but I've definitely seen him spinning out or hitting the wall or getting into problems a lot more than the average driver these last couple months. So I think the back injury had a huge impact. If he hadn't had the injury, would he be a serious title threat? Maybe, maybe not. I think he'd probably be in the chase, but I mean, I'm not really sure. It's anyone's guess, really. From Best Jimbo, how do you think Newman will do at RCR next year in the 31? I think he'll do better than Jeff Burton's doing right now in the 31, but only slightly. Jeff Burton's a good driver, but I think he's just kind of getting old. He's past his prime. I don't know if his heart's really in it anymore. I think he definitely wants to do well. I mean, you're not going to come out here and just not want to do well, but I just don't think Jeff Burton's really just got the finesse to still go out there and dominate races like he did 10 years ago and run really well and win a lot of races. But Ryan Newman, I think the 31 car is really not much better of a ride than the 39 was. I think they're very similar. You talk about they're both coming from pretty good teams, and they're like the secondary car in both teams. Like the 14's probably the number one over at Stuart Haas, and then I guess before next year, at least this year, the 29 has been the main guy over there at RCR. So I think you look at them; they're very similar rides. I think Ryan Newman, he'll be a Chase contender. I don't think he's going to be a championship contender, but he's going to be a Chase contender. He'll probably be in the top 15 in points like this year. He'll probably have a win in there somewhere, and he'll be a lot like this year, except maybe he might make it into the Chase instead of just, or he might miss the Chase next year. I know he made it this year, but I think he has I think the 31's a little worse than 39. That's what I'm trying to say, but I think he definitely has potential to make the Chase again, but I don't think he's going to win the championship. To be honest, right there. Now I got last couple questions here are kind of following a similar theme. From Jack Smith, he asked, could you see anyone besides Kenseth, Busch, and Johnson winning the title, or is there no way it'll be anyone else? I could see others. Like I said, I could see Kevin Harvick or Carl Edwards sneaking in there and winning it. But at this point, if I had to put my money on it, my highest dollar would probably be on Matt Kenseth. Second, I'd probably put on Jimmy Johnson. And third, I'd probably put on Kyle Busch. And I think I'd spend about 98 of my, let's say I had $100, I'd probably have spent about $98 just on those three. So I don't have much left over to give to anybody else. But if anyone else is to win the title, I think it would have to be Carl Edwards or Kevin Harvick. And I think it's just a toss-up between the two of them. I think Edwards has been a little more consistent, but Harvick, of course, he's been a little more explosive and dynamic there at the end. So I don't know. It's anyone's guess. It's probably going to be Kenseth, Busch, or Johnson, unless all three have a major collapse here in the next 8 weeks. But I really don't think anything that bad is going to happen to any of them. Next one is, in your last video, you said nothing about Matt Kenseth having a good run, let alone a win at New Hampshire. You said Dover, Texas, Talladega, and Kansas would be his wins. After this, how many tracks do you think he will win yet this season? Well, yeah, last week I did not expect Matt Kenseth to win at New Hampshire. I think I picked Kurt Busch, who finished top 15, but had some struggles, so that was probably not a good pick. But I think I did say that I thought Kenseth would win at Texas, Dover, maybe Talladega, and maybe Kansas. But I did not see him winning at New Hampshire. And since he did win at New Hampshire, which I think is one of his worst tracks, that's definitely not good for the rest of the Chase contenders. I'm going to stand by what I said. I think those 4 tracks he could still win at. I honestly think Kenseth could win every race. He's good enough to win every single race remaining this season. He's not, obviously. He's not going to win 8 more races. He's not going to be able to do that. But I still have a feeling he'll win 3 or 4 races. He'll win probably 3 more races here before the Chase is over. I have a feeling he's going to pull a Tony Stewart like in 2011 and just kind of explode. Run okay during the regular season. I guess he ran pretty well during the regular season. But then when the Chase hits, just explode and win a bunch of races. So I still think he's going to win 3 more races here in the Chase. But I'd still say those 4 tracks are probably his best bets. So that leads me to my last question, which kind of goes with the last one that I just answered. Will Matt Kenseth win the championship? That's from Liquid Thermostat Cup. Will Matt Kenseth win the championship? I'm a Matt Kenseth fan, so naturally I'd like to think, oh yeah, he's going to win, right? But at the same time, I don't want to jinx him, so I kind of want to say, oh, well, there's still some good guys behind him that could do well. I don't know. I've been watching Matt Kenseth race since like 2005, so I've seen him go on these streaks sometimes, including last year. This is what cost him last year, because I thought he was a serious championship threat last year, until the last couple weeks leading up to the Chase, where he got on a really bad roll, got a couple DNFs, was really bad, and it just ended up carrying over into the Chase, and basically took him out of contention. So Kenseth Matt can have those types of just down spells, whereas I don't think Jimmy Johnson is really going to have any. I think Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth are very similar. I think both of them are a little more prone to having like a bad streak, whereas Jimmy Johnson's probably not going to have any of those here during the rest. He may have one bad race the rest of this Chase, but I don't think he's just going to string together bad runs. He did that, I know, a couple months ago. He had those 4 races where he did really bad, but that was, I think that was just, a lot of it was luck. Like you said, it's a lot of luck. So Matt Kenseth definitely looks like the favorite, but will he win the championship? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say he will win the championship. thanks for watching. I'll see you guys after next race from Dover on Monday. I will be uploading my next video. So I'll see you guys then. Goodbye.